To be an apex predator means being king of your environment. But if life at the top is so good, why are predators almost seldomly bigger than their prey? Why is the lion dwarfed by the buffalo, the wolf by the moose? The answer lies in the fundamental laws of energy. Life is powered by a food pyramid. Plants get energy from the sun. Herbivores eat plants. Carnivores eat herbivores. This transfer is incredibly inefficient. The 10% rule means energy rapidly diminishes up the chain. There is simply not enough available energy to support populations of predators that are consistently larger than their prey. This size difference has led evolution to give predators a wide array of menacing tools and weapons to even the playing field: a powerful bite, sharp claws, pack hunting, and intelligence. Many predators can take down prey much bigger than themselves, but once in a blue moon, a carnivore comes along that takes big game hunting to the absolute extreme. An animal with weapons and a lifestyle solely designed for tackling giants, a predator that breaks the rules. Only a few thousand years ago, one cat roaming the earth perfected this art, the king of the Ice Age, Smilodon. Thanks to its striking appearance and giant saber teeth, Smilodon is one of those few extinct animals that nearly everyone knows, helped by its portrayal in movies like Ice Age. Yet, despite its fame as a cat, it didn't start that way. When first discovered over 160 years ago in Brazil, paleontologists mistook it for a large extinct hyena based on isolated cheek teeth. It was dubbed Hyena neogea, the New World hyena. Luckily, more fossils soon appeared. New parts were identified: foot bones, skull material, and giant canines seemingly too big for its mouth. With these, scientists could tell this had never been a hyena. It was a distinct genus of felid, a true cat, that was undeniably giant and far more robust than any known modern cat. With this in mind, paleontologists renamed it Smilodon populator. Smilodon means knife tooth for its giant teeth. The species name, populator, supposedly translates to the destroyer, a fitting name. This reclassification led to more research. Paleontologists now place it in the extinct subfamily Megafauna. This group contains what people often call saber-toothed tigers. This is the most common misconception. Smilodon was not a tiger. Saber-toothed cat is a more fitting nickname, as this entire group is a completely separate, extinct branch of the cat family tree. Within the Megafauna, Smilodon was further classified as a Smilodontini member, or dirk-toothed cat. This remains a rather lonely group. Over the years, this group has grown, not through new genera, but by new Smilodon species. With older remains found in North America, there are now 3 accepted types: populator, fatalis, and gracilis. While you wouldn't care which was which if chased, they did have differences. One of the biggest was when they lived. Smilodon gracilis, slender knife tooth, was the oldest, evolving in North America from Megantherion approximately 2.5 million years ago. Smilodon fatalis, or deadly knife tooth, came along about 1 million years later. Finally, Smilodon populator appeared about 600,000 years after fatalis, representing the lineage that migrated into South America. They also differed in size, as each new iteration was larger. Gracilis was the smallest, populator the giant, but ultimately all 3 were huge by modern cat standards, making Smilodon one of the largest known felids. Paleontologists believe Smilodon gracilis was the weight of a modern jaguar. Smilodon fatalis was bigger, similar in dimension to an African lion, but much heavier due to its muscular build. Its weight is estimated around 280 kilos or 620 pounds, equivalent to large tigers, but Smilodon populator was ridiculously large. Bigger bones indicate a max body size around 470 kilos or 1,040 pounds. This is about the weight of a medium-sized polar bear, Earth's current largest terrestrial carnivore. A nice thing about Smilodon is that studies find it lacked high sexual dimorphism. Males and females were usually around the same size. In other words, there were a lot of large individuals running around. Given its size, it was an apex predator in all its environments. Smilodon was not just big, it was very robust. This is the first sign it wasn't interested in small, fast prey. Its entire body was a testament to power. Smilodon had thick, sturdy bones, roped with large amounts of muscle. The robust heel bone indicates it was an excellent jumper, likely using its vertical leap to jump on top of big-bodied herbivores. It's speculated to have jumped higher than the modern lion, which clears 15 feet. Smilodon's forelimbs were extraordinarily well built. All large felids have powerful forelimbs, but Smilodon took this to the next level. Its forelimbs were about 20% thicker than scientists would expect for a cat its size. This gave its forearms ridiculous, unparalleled power, even greater than that of cats bigger than it, like the American lion. With its shredded forearms, Smilodon could have easily held down massive prey. They were further empowered by fully retractable claws, but these were not like a lion's or tiger's claws. Smilodon's claws were proportionally ginormous, with reconstructions finding them twice the size of a Siberian tiger's and longer than those of a Kodiak brown bear. These claws could cut flesh, but their size was an adaptation for grappling large animals, not for killing. Its true weapon was its infamous saber teeth. These iconic weapons are not unique to Smilodon. Saber teeth have appeared in other mammals multiple times. So why is Smilodon the most popular animal with them? The answer is their length. Just like its claws, its canines were supersized. They were so large, they protruded well out of its mouth even when it was closed, a feature uncommon in other saber-toothed cats. These massive saber teeth could grow to 8 inches or 20.3 centimeters long, the biggest of any known felid. But they weren't just for bragging rights. They were well adapted to pierce deep into flesh. The tops were a sharp point, while the sides were smooth and narrow, like a knife blade, concentrating force at the tips to create catastrophic puncture wounds. Surprisingly, the design was so efficient, it allowed Smilodon to get away with a not-so-powerful bite. This is the great paradox of the saber-toothed cat. Studies found it bit with a force of 1,000 newtons, 4 times weaker than a lion's bite. This weak bite is also reflected by the durability of the canines. Each tooth was slender and fragile. If Smilodon had bitten down on a struggling animal's bone, its teeth would have snapped. This made paleontologists wonder how Smilodon killed. The favored idea is that Smilodon used quick, thrusting attacks or a deep bite to wreck a prey's throat, invoking severe blood loss and suffocation. Studies also revealed its jaw could open up to 120 degrees, nearly double that of humans. This enormous gape was essential to get its own lips and chin out of the way, allowing the saber teeth to find their mark. These teeth and claws made it a fearsome predator. Yet it was not brawn alone that gave Smilodon success. Brain cavity scans suggested high coordination, good hearing, and amazing vision, backed by eye sockets implying excellent binocular vision for judging distance. They also seem to be very fast, at least in short bursts. Many Smilodon fossils had trauma to their sternums, generally seen as a result of high-velocity collisions with prey. These traits, combined with its arsenal, allowed Smilodon to hunt a wide range of megafaunal prey, which varied depending on where it lived. In North America, Smilodon fatalis typically hunted giant extinct bison, camels, glyptotherium, ground sloths, and occasionally mastodons and Columbian mammoths. In South America, Smilodon populator preyed upon toxodon, glyptodonts, horses, camelids, and even caiman. This prey list raises a question. Was Smilodon a social creature? Pack hunting would imply larger prey more often. One of the biggest pieces of evidence for a social lifestyle comes from the Brea Tar Pits in California. These pits are famous predator traps. When a large animal got stuck, its distress calls attracted numerous predators who were then trapped. 90% of La Brea bones come from predators. Smilodon was no exception and is the second most common find in the pits, with over 160,000 fossils. This high yield has convinced many that Smilodon prowled in groups. In modern cats, social kinds, like lions, respond more to distress calls than solitary cats. The large number of remains suggests Smilodon was highly sensitive to distress calls, indicating gregarious hunting. Another interesting argument is pseudo-healthcare. Certain Smilodon fossils with extensive trauma, who should have died, seem to have survived for months or years. A popular example was an individual with hip dysplasia at a young age that still survived well into adulthood, indicating it was likely taken care of by packmates. Of course, there are those who think it was more of a loner, pointing out that skeletons found outside of predator traps are more isolated. Whatever the case, Smilodon was no doubt amongst the most dominant predators around, but it was by no means the only carnivore. It lived with other iconic predators, most importantly, the American lion and dire wolves. Isotopic analysis showed these predators had the most similar diet to Smilodon, making them its biggest competitors. Despite dire wolves having numbers and American lions having size, Smilodon seemed to do just fine. Perhaps its canines, on full display, intimidated nearly any animal. Regarding the American lion, the two most likely tried to avoid each other, but fights were a given. In such fights, it was likely anyone's game. Competition with the dire wolf seemed more in Smilodon's favor. La Brea remains hint that dire wolves often yielded kills to Smilodons, which were then completely devoured. Besides cats and dogs, there were large, short-faced bears, whose members could get heavier than the largest Smilodon. However, these bear behemoths possessed more omnivorous diets, which likely eased tensions. Also, these bears tended to be more solitary. Therefore, if a Smilodon was not alone, a bear most likely would not choose to engage. This mention of carcasses brings up a good question. How did Smilodon eat? Due to their saber teeth, they could not eat from the front. Instead, they were equipped with blade-like carnassials, or cheek teeth, that would overlap in a shearing motion, slicing through flesh like butter. These teeth were situated on either side of the mouth, allowing individuals to munch on pieces of meat with their heads turned, bypassing their canines. Ultimately, its peculiar teeth led to Smilodon being both odd and highly successful. Between the three species, it achieved a vast distribution within the Western Hemisphere. In North America, Gracilis and Fatalis had a near-universal range. In South America, where Fatalis and Populator resided, they were equally widespread, extending south to Patagonia. Smilodon also capitalized on mixed biomes, adapting to live in grasslands, plains, woodlands, closed forests, savannas, subtropical forests, and mammoth steppes. With such an impressive distribution, it lived alongside a plethora of other icons: short-faced bears, proboscideans, ground sloths, glyptodonts, toxodon, and terror birds. It also lived with an animal we are very familiar with, ourselves. We may have encountered Smilodon as far back as 25,000 years ago. The relationship was likely tense. Unfortunately for our kind, our timing was rather poor. By the time people arrived in the Americas, only Populator and Fatalis, the bigger species, were left. Because Megantherion, Smilodon's potential ancestor, was known to kill Homo erectus, it's proposed that Smilodon may have taken out a few unlucky people too. However, humans with superior technology certainly got the best of some Smilodon as well. There's no direct evidence, but in 2021, researchers located a petroglyph seemingly depicting humans watching a Smilodon, suggesting interactions happened. Sadly, the coexistence between humans and Smilodons was short-lived. Smilodons were lost to history. The youngest Fatalis and Populator remains are both dated to about 10,000 years ago. Its extinction is a topic of debate. Some believe humans had a hand in its demise. While humans were not good for Smilodon, there is disagreement on our total impact. The more typical thought is that the loss of Megafauna during the Quaternary extinction event was the true culprit. As climate change caused many large animals to die off, Smilodon had less and less prey to choose from. It was a curse of its own blessing. It had evolved to be the perfect giant slayer, but unfortunately, there were not many giants left. This hyper-specialization, this total commitment to hunting large, slow-moving prey, was its doom. It was unable to adapt to a new world of smaller, faster animals, and soon enough, Smilodon died out. Its ending marked the end of saber-toothed cats, not only in the Western Hemisphere, but also worldwide, as it was the last member of a family that had been king for over 20 million years.